Look closely at the GTA 6 cover art, right there in plain sight, standing next to Jason and Lucia. There's people most of you probably scrolled right past, and they're not just random background filler Rockstar threw in for texture. I think it's basically a blueprint for the entire story, sitting right there in the open before the game's even out. So today we're going through the full cast, not just who everybody is, what they actually do for the plot, because once you see how this whole thing connects, the story kind of writes itself in front of you. Let's get into it. First, the biggest shift here. GTA 5 gave us 3 guys who honestly could barely stand each other half the time. GTA 6 is flipping that completely. This time it's built around a couple, Jason and Lucia, and Rockstar is clearly leaning hard into that Bonnie and Clyde energy, and Lucia, worth saying again because it matters, is the first female lead this era of GTA has ever had. Now look at their bios side by side and the actual conflict just kind of jumps out at you. Jason grew up around grifters, did a stint in the army, and ended up right back where he started, smuggling in the keys, and honestly, he seems pretty comfortable staying under the radar there. Lucia just got out of prison, ankle monitor and everything, and she's chasing the life her mom always wanted, back before they left Liberty City. She's done waiting around for it. That right there is the whole engine of this game. You don't even need a dramatic betrayal to make this interesting. Jason's happy staying small in places like the Keys or the Grass Rivers or Ambrosia or Port Gellhorn. Lucia wants Vice City, wants the big score, wants the ceiling gone completely. Every job they pull together is basically that argument playing out again. Speaking of ceilings, let's talk about Brian Heder because he basically is that ceiling. From what we've pieced together across trailers and screenshots, Brian's an old school keys smuggler, golden age stuff, but here's the thing, he's not the one taking risks anymore. He's retired in the comfortable sense, he's got guys like Jason doing the actual dirty work now while he just sits back. He even lets Jason live rent-free at one of his places. And in trailer 2, you can see Brian chewing Jason out. Not for anything crazy, just for fixing a roof instead of going out and collecting rent. Doing shakedowns Brian actually wanted done. That's a pretty big tell, honestly. Jason's basically getting paid in housing to stay small, stay obedient, not reach for anything bigger. So the second Lucia gets out and starts pushing for more, Brian becomes the guy Jason's probably going to have to outgrow. Whether that's a clean break or ends in a shootout, I genuinely don't know. We'll find out. Next, Hampton. Jason's best friend on the surface. He looks like comic relief, kind of like Lamar was in GTA 5, shows up at bars in trailer 2, asking to get hooked up if anyone's got a friend for him. That whole vibe. But look closer. He's apparently the guy monitoring Coast Guard radio frequencies. That's not just a random throwaway detail to me. If Jason and Brian are moving product through the keys, they need eyes on law enforcement. And Cal looks like exactly that guy. My hunch, and it's just a hunch. I think Rockstar is setting up the funny, chill scanner guy to end up knowing a lot more than we'd expect. I wouldn't sleep on him. Okay, now 3 characters I think are connected, so let's do them together because I think these are the people we run into once the story pushes into Vice City, probably mid-game. First, Boobie Ike, street veteran turned actual mogul, now owns real estate, a strip club, a record label. His bio basically says he's all smiles right up until it's time for business. Then there's DJ Quan Priest, who co-runs that label with him. Hustler dealt drugs to fund the music thing, not because he was ever into that lifestyle for its own sake. And then Real Dimes, a viral rap duo, blew up on social media, landed a hit single a few years before the game even starts. They're signed to that same label. Here's why I think this matters. We already know GTA 6's marketing is leaning hard into social media, phone culture, influencer stuff, so I don't think Real Dimes are just going to sit there as background NPCs. I actually think there's a real chance this whole group is how Rockstar introduces a core social media mechanic. Maybe you catch someone flexing online and that opens up a robbery. Maybe there's dynamic events tied to what's trending. I don't know the exact shape of it, but there's been enough smoke around this that I think there's fire there too. And remember, Boobie's right there on the cover art. I'd bet he ends up being a mid-game boss type figure we're actually working for directly. Which brings us to the other cover art name, Raul Batista. His bio calls him a charming, seasoned bank robber, always looking for crew willing to take big risks for big payouts. Except he's getting more reckless with every job, and Rockstar straight up says his crew's going to have to double down or walk away. So Raul's basically a countdown clock. I think he's the guy who pulls Jason and Lucia out of small-time keys stuff and drops them into the actual million-dollar heist territory, the real statewide conspiracy side of things. Given his spot on the cover art and everything in his bio, I think he's the catalyst for a big chunk of the back half of this game. Alright, hot take time, and I might get roasted for this one in the comments, but hear me out. Everyone assumes Jason and Lucia betray each other. GTA 5 ended with somebody dying. Red Dead 2, same deal, pretty much expected. But I actually don't think Rockstar goes there this time. They've hammered trust and loyalty and riding together so hard in the marketing that I think it's almost too obvious a setup for a betrayal ending. I think they're subverting it. I think Jason and Lucia actually make it out together. Obviously, that's pure speculation. There'll probably be moments where it looks like it's falling apart. Maybe Lucia gets arrested again. Maybe Jason wants out, but my read is they land it as a happy ending, not a tragedy. Now, real talk, some genuine blind spots here. We have zero official confirmation on the main antagonist. There's a corrupt detective in trailer 2 who could be it. Raul could be it. Honestly, I don't think Raul's the main villain. Rockstar putting the actual big bad right there on the cover art feels too obvious, and this studio doesn't usually do the obvious thing. My guess is the real antagonist, the one tied to whatever the bigger statewide conspiracy turns out to be, hasn't been shown yet at all. And on GTA 5 callbacks, nothing official either. Would be cool if Trevor's out in the Grass Rivers somewhere, or Michael's kids show up all grown up. GTA 4 got little nods in GTA 5, so there's precedent, but right now that's just wishful thinking on my part. So here's the whole machine put together. Brian's the anchor holding Jason down in the keys. Cal's the eye in the sky for the smuggling side. Kind of a mini Lester, just not quite as sharp. Boobie, Quan, and Real Dimes look like the Vice City arc, probably tied into that influencer mechanic. Raul's the guy who pushes everything into the big leagues, and Jason and Lucia are stuck right in the middle of all of it, pulling in two completely different directions. If you think I'm wrong about any of this, or there's a character you think I slept on, drop it in the comments. I actually read all of them. Subscribe for the next breakdown, the second something new gets confirmed. Appreciate you watching. See you in the next one.